My name is Chioma Nkechika, a retired banker, a Nigerian who's privileged to be the manager of CoralPay. CoralPay is a payment switching company licensed by the Central Bank of Nigeria to offer payment services to the ecosystem. We are also a third-party processor for the big card associations, MasterCard, Visa International, and Verve. We are also licensed as a non-bank acquirer. Our focus is about redefining the payment landscape by having an integration and aggregation process where all the parties in the ecosystem will work efficiently. Well, CoralPay is a company that's been incorporated back in 2005 as a payment service company. But then there was no regulation. So it was just a company that was vetted by friends over the years to do things. My first meeting with them was, interestingly, while I was working in the bank, was in 2006 or 2007, when after we launched, then I was working in the bank, after we launched the MasterCard project. So I met them, I saw a lot of interest in the wedding. So we became friends, nothing business, nothing over the years. Fast forward to when I took a decision to retire from banking in 2015. And I went through the review of what I would need to do that. Then I realized that CoralPay existed still, but not active. So there was a management buyout where I came in with a new management team, took it over, and then got licenses to make it operate as a proper fintech. So that I would say is the real bet of CoralPay in its new position. You would expect that for something new, it takes time to get a life of its own. So over the years, there's been consistent growth. And not as much as we would want, but because also not in a derogatory sense, a lot of Nigerian businesses tend to be a bit laid back. Why am I using it that way? So everybody that sees and knows about the product gets very excited about it. But it's not about how fancy it is. It's about the adoption. Adoption has been good, but the communication has not been very effective. So in the places where we've created good communication, it's been very good. And how have we created communication to date? We have worked with partners. Because we designed to be a B2B and not customer facing, it was difficult for us to project to the public directly. So we depended on our partners who had direct interface with their customers to do the work. We built it as a business support service, which is a B2B. It wasn't designed to be customer facing. So we're supposed to support banks, support other fintechs, and with that, of course, you now need to review and see what policy or what licenses are available that will give you a back into what you wanted to do. And one of the onset we had was we brought Alipay to Nigeria. Regulation is necessary. I have this belief for two reasons. One, I'm patriotic. Two, even as a child growing up, I always believed structure was very important. It defined me as a person for the level of discipline I have in my life. But specific to the business, regulation is often misunderstood. But I don't blame those that misunderstand regulation, because the regulator themselves can do better in their posturing of the value they are bringing in. In my 24 years banking career, for 20 years, I actively worked with regulators, both in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. And you will see the need for regulation, because without regulation, we're in a much bigger trouble. Because even CoralPay as an organization, we've done some very dynamic and bold, audacious activities. But what we then do, because we are regulated, is when we design, when we deploy, even if it's not regulated or there's no guideline for it, we do a proof of concept, then go to the regulator and say, see what we have done. We need a letter of no objection to proceed because there's no guideline. the regulator works with us. They ask us questions, they check the systems from technical to business model, and they give you what you call a letter of no objection because you are already licensed. And they also forbid you as a switch, a tier 1 participant like we are, of signing up parties that are not licensed. And that's for a good reason. Because you see, a chain is as strong as its weakest link. If you go and take a poisonous link into your system, it's almost like friendly fire. CBN has licensed you, expecting you to operate with certain decorum, but you've gone to take someone who has an ulterior intent. You have poisoned the system. That could be a leakage, that could be a problem. So those guidelines really is what regulation tends to put guardrails on. CoralPay is Africa's gold standard for payments. So when I have discussions, because you need to operate from somewhere, so we are based out of Nigeria, but the focus is Africa. And what we've done, a lot of the partner banks we have, virtually all the top Nigerian banks have spread that out. So that's our avenue to go out, because we didn't design to start going from location to location. We have an infrastructure, we have a base, so we're able to walk across. But the biggest we're coming out with is interoperability. Just like I keep saying, we also do MasterCard processing, we do Visa processing, but our flagship is the growth area, which is the USSD and the mobile phone technology. We want to build an interoperable structure where an M-Pesa customer or subscriber can come to Nigeria and have the same transaction experience while in Nairobi. Why? Because they are integrated to CoralPay. Likewise, ZPay from Ghana customer can come into Nigeria, and the same thing a Momo customer with MTN across and Airtel. So we have those discussions ongoing where there is full interoperability. There's been a challenge, it's the FX limitation, but we're trying to keep it in line with what CBN has approved. Sometimes they say it's $100 a month, sometimes they say it's $500 a month. So we work within that ambit, but by and large, we are having a full Africa integration. Have we plans to move elsewhere? Oh yes, we do. Of course, when you do something nice, people hear about you and come to you. So every day I get requests on LinkedIn and from people via email asking, let's partner to replicate this in their respective countries. We have close to 8 such conversations ongoing. But the trust of it all is that we are established in Nigeria with Africa as our focus. The first, what I think is most important, don't be afraid to live your dream, which means dream. And to dream, it comes from 2 ways. Either it's passive or it's more like an aspiration. Why do I say that? With what I have done, and by God's grace, with what I have achieved, it comes from things that I never imagined I would be able to do. So I call myself a lucky child, because things that look at the nick of time, when it's like all tired or frustrating, but somehow I keep at it and I don't give up. And it has always come true for me. It might not be the same for other people, but the fact that you have a challenge doesn't mean you should give up. Stay at it. But why it's important to have your dream, which is also built out of probably your passion. Hard times will come, but the fact that it's something you're passionate about, you can go through that storm and come out stronger, because the experience is always what you learn. Nobody ever gives you the experience like you would when you learn it yourself. The next point to it is do not be in a hurry to sell yourself cheap, because that gift you have to come up with something, it's your gift. It's almost like, I'm a Christian, so it's almost like where the story of the porridge for birthright. I'll leave it at that. Don't sell what you have because of immediate gain. Hold your dream, hold your passion, because that gift to you will be your launch pad. But because you need to be able to get investors, because you need money to do things you want to do, if you get to the stage where you take an investor, have proven yourself, not a half-baked product. Because if you take just apples and sell, you will make maybe 10 naira. But if you sell apple juice, you will make 100 naira. If you have that mindset, it should guide you that have your dream, have your vision, work hard within your ability to improve the value before you start getting investors. And when you do get investors, do not give up your ability to continue to dream. You're watching Guardian TV. This is Chioma. I endorse this.